Okay. Good evening, everyone. Got quite an agenda today. So let's call to order. Let's do a roll call.
Okay, we're going to start with Commissioner Ramos.
Gabby, sorry, he's absent today.
Thank you. Commissioner Maharaj.
Present.
Commissioner De Natale.
Present.
Commissioner Foley.
Here.
Commissioner Bowen.
Here.
Commissioner Bond.
Present.
Commissioner Boldenweck.
Present.
Vice Chair Mardahay.
Yeah, present.
Okay.
All right. So since we have a full agenda today, I'm just going to jump into it. We're going to review the agenda, and are there any changes before we approve the minutes from the July meeting?
No changes from staff.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
So minutes are, we're adopting the minutes. Okay.
Commissioner Vice Chair Mardahay, we might want a second for that one too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
anybody wants to second on that one to approve the minutes? Could I be the second to approve it?
I second the.
All right,
I second
let's just
approve
approve
the
them.
minutes.
Okay. We have.
Sorry, just for clarification, just so our clerk can get that correctly in the record, was that Vice Chair Mardahay or Chair?
Maharaj.
Or-
Maharaj
okay.
seconded. Seconded.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks of it. Okay, minutes approved. We have a few citizens present today, and also would like to welcome Vice Mayor Nichols to our meeting today. If any citizens want to participate and ask or speak to something that's not on the agenda, please use the raise the hand button over there, and the staff will give you the mic. So are there any written comments from the public today?
There are no written comments at this time.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our next agenda, which is the presentation of the award finalists of the Handcrafted with Love of our art and craft shelf. So that's Ursi.
Yes, thank you, Millie. I did have one of the artists RSVP that she would be attending. However, I don't see her here. I don't know if any other artists that were awarded have attended today. If you have, please let me know. Otherwise, I will just go ahead and announce that the artist name that that were awarded.
Ursi, I will let you know that Paul Yanti is on the call.
Oh, okay. Oh, wonderful. Paul, Tanti. Nice to see you. Yeah, so perhaps our other participant who are RSVP'd will get on soon. So Paul was awarded first place in 3-dimensional art, and he also received second place best in show for his entry Pirate Ship. And Paul, if you'd like to have anything you'd like to say to the commission related to your work or that particular work in progress, you're welcome to speak now. You'll need to unmute yourself, Paul.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to show that ship. My grandson wanted me to build him I got several ships, but he wanted a pirate ship, so I built him a pirate ship. And so I've got another one coming. So while you kept that one, I have another one being built now. And I just love building ships.
Mr. Tanti, I have to say I had the pleasure of holding your pirate ship in my office before it was placed inside the window, and people would often swing by to take a look at it. And I felt like every time I saw something new on it that I hadn't noticed before. So it's an amazing,
Thank you.
fun piece.
Thank you. Yeah. There's a few things I want to add to it when I get it back too, because it's always in my mind that, I don't know if that one had a steering wheel, or it might. If not, I have to make one and put one in it, and improve it all the time, and but like I said, I just love working on them. It was a pleasure entering it in, and it does run. It's motorized, so all my ships run. So well, thank you again, and I appreciate you showing it.
Paul, how long did that effort take to create that ship?
Off and on, maybe 4 to 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I know other people had taken years, but I don't have the time. I don't have the years, so I make it almost like folk art, and get it realistic as I can, and then proceed in doing more things to it as I see it, and time goes by, and take it to the lake and enjoy it. And people just love it. They just take pictures of it, and they just love the work. And there's other ships out there that are really nice too. And I never knew that I would come in first place or whatever. It's I never had no idea. So but thank you again, and hopefully maybe I'll enter another one next year.
Well, we look forward to your participation in the future, Paul. And just so the commission knows, the Commissioner Bond will give a fuller report later on under the subcommittee report. However, Paul's work, you can see it live in person at the Municipal Services Building. It'll be available for roughly another week. And it is also on the virtual exhibit. So thank you so much, Paul. And you're welcome to stay as long as you'd like, or exit whenever you feel ready to.
Okay, well, I just see other artists, so see what they have to say.
Well, you're the only one there.
Oh, okay, I'm the only one here. Okay, well, thank you, and good night.
I
Thank
have a
you.
Thank you,
question.
Mr. Yanti. Thank you so much.
Okay,
When did you start building these ships?
Oh, after I retired, I went to the lake, which I used to go, and a friend of mine says, well, you're a cabinet maker. Why don't you just build yourself one? I built a little one, and it ran. And from then, I just started building them. So I've been doing it for about maybe 10, 15 years.
Great.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, and anybody ever wants to come to see them, I've got a whole room full of them, different ships, different boats, aircraft carriers, battleships, tugboats, sailboats, the Jeremiah O'Brien, and several others.
Oh, these are so notorious. They're so hard to build because there's attention to detail, and I'm sure it's, every piece is stunning.
Pardon?
I was just saying that it's probably, their attention to detail must be, it just takes forever, right, to build a single piece because just so many pieces required.
Yeah, it does, because everything is not bought. It's unless I have to, but everything else is, done by hand. It's all pieces of wood, and occasionally I will go buy some nice molding to decorate it, because I get different ideas, and most of the time I make my own, so yeah, it's everything is, there's no plans. The plans is in my mind, what I see, because all ships are, they're all built different, and like pirate ships, you can't go and buy a pirate ship. You build a pirate ship. So, so it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
Thank you so much,
Paul,
Mr. Yanti.
I had the pleasure to talk to you in much more depth prior to the show. So what I just wanted to highlight that not many people know is how you shared with me that there's actually a speaker inside. Can you speak a little to that?
Inside the boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a speaker in that one, but there is a speaker in some of the other boats I made.
Okay, then I misspoke to a few people during the show, but
Yeah, I do have like a GPS, and you can put inside the boat, and then you can program it from your radio, and you can have cannon sounds, music, so they could be installed in that ship too, and taken out and put in different other ships too. So that's a possibility that I would do, and
well, thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, well,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Well, thank you. And feel free to drop at 389 Avalon Drive and come and see the rest of the boats.
Thank you again, Paul.
Okay,
We
well,
appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye now.
Take care. Thank you so much for attending. We're gonna move on to our next agenda, unfinished business. So we have public art master plan. Erin?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So as the commission is aware, we have started to launch the public art master plan, and our strategic vision committee will talk a little bit more in depth about that later on. But what I did want to update you on is the upcoming events, so you guys can have those on your calendars, and we hope to see you at them, where we will have our consultants from Art Builds community present. So the first one is tomorrow night. So it's the kickoff of our survey for the public, and it will be at the movie night in the park, which tomorrow's movie night in the park will be at Martin Baseball Field, and it will the movie's Encanto, and they'll have a whole fun little themed art project to capture communities' input and kind of get some of what their vision is based off of the project. So it'll be a little bit geared towards youth, but we'll have the surveys present there as well. And that will be in both English and Spanish. And then the second event is in September. So that would be September 24th, which will be the concert in the park. So that'll be at Orange Memorial Park, and they will have a table and they will be set up there for the day. So it's 11:30 to 5 p.m. And then the final one will be at our art show in October. So October 15th, the Dia de los Muertos, and they'll have a presence there. And we'll fill you guys all in, but we will have lots of newsletters and links and social media posts coming out about the online version of the survey as well. But just those are the upcoming events for you guys on your calendars, specific to the specific to the public art master plan.
Great, and we're gonna look forward to hearing the subcommittee on this in a little more detail. Sure. All right, we're gonna move on to our next agenda, and we have some new business today. We're gonna have election of officers, and I'm going to Erin again.
Yeah, I'll take that one again as well. Thank you. So as the commission is aware, due to the recent resignation of Chair Capania, we have an open chair, or our chair position is now open. So it would be at this time that we would look for nominations from the board, and then we'll take a vote on that as well.
So would Millie move into the chairman position at this point, or is that just open to now?
It's open to, everyone, but if you want me to move into chair, someone could second and you could vote. But it's open to anyone, yeah.
We'd first need a nomination, and then you
Yeah,
guys
is that a nomination, Peter?
Well, I don't know. Nomination for the chairman, is that what we're looking at?
That's what we're looking for.
Well, as she's vice chairman, I would nominate her for chairman at this point. Yeah.
Thank you, Peter.
A second.
Thank you, Lynn.
I'll second that.
Thanks.
And with that nomination, that would now leave we need to do a roll call vote. So if Gabby can lead us in that.
Alrighty, let's start with Commissioner Maharaj,
Aye. Yes.
Commissioner De Natale,
Yes.
Commissioner Foley,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowen,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos is absent, Commissioner Bond,
Yes.
Commissioner Boldenweck,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Mardahay.
I'll vote for myself.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And now since I moved up, I guess the vice chair position is vacant now and we could nominate. And I personally would like to nominate Commissioner Bond to vice chair. Do we get a second?
Oh,
I'll second
I
that
will
nomination.
second that.
Okay, we could do a roll call in that one.
Oh, and we should probably just make sure that Commissioner Bond accepts the nomination.
Oh yeah, Commissioner Bond.
I'm honored. I was going to nominate somebody else, but if you guys are, I guess we'll take a vote.
Well, we can accept multiple nominations.
You accept?
I'll accept the nomination, sure.
And we got second.
I'll second that
Okay.
nomination.
Okay. So it sounds like we got a second. So we're moving to roll call.
we're gonna do Commissioner Maharaj,
I second. I approve.
okay, Commissioner De Natale,
Yes.
Commissioner Foley,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowen,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos is absent, Commissioner Boldenweck,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mardahay.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know if I have to do this, but Commissioner Bond.
I guess I'll follow Millie's lead and vote for myself.
All right, good to go.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Then we move on to our next agenda. We got blowing through the agenda today. Let's see. We have utility box. The Paradise Valley discussion is next on the agenda, and I'm going to open it to Erin. I'm going to take it over.
Actually, I'm going to pass it over to Angela. So Angela will take this
okay.
presentation.
Yes, we did a little tag teaming today. So this goes back a little bit in history with our utility box program. The last call for entries was held in 2019. But just to set some background for this, since it's been a while since we've had the program, the utility box mural program was initiated in 2012 by city leaders who saw a need for a community-based art project to deter the problem of unsightly graffiti and drab utility boxes. So this temporary art program invites local artists to beautify the city's utility boxes with mural art. And pre-COVID, the Cultural Arts Commission issued a call for entries approximately every other years, and artists receive a small honorarium for their work. It should be noted that Kelly Moore Paints has been a good and longtime partner with us by donating the paint supplies since the inception of the program in 2012. So around the time of our last call for entries in 2019, former Park and Rec Director Sharon Reynolds, who is now our Assistant City Manager, shared with the Cultural Arts Commission that residents from the Paradise Valley neighborhood requested a new design for their utility box. The current utility box design is titled Patterns and was painted for the 2014 program by professional artist Jenny Belisle. The mural incorporates a configuration of branches against a sky blue background. The image depicts black lines that branch out like a tree, paying homage, linking to the city's history while celebrating its future. And so this mural is in fair condition. However, given that they are considered temporary artworks, it seems appropriate to replace it after nearly a decade. And staff have explored relocating the box. However, the exterior aluminum cover is integral to the entire signal controller unit and can't be removed or relocated. Also in 2019, given these discussions about possibly repainting the box, cultural arts specialist R.C. Santos did contact the artist to give them notice about decommissioning their artwork so that we could move forward with any new design on the box. And in discussion in 2019, the commission was supportive of the Paradise Valley neighborhood's desire to find something that better suits their identity. And also in 2019, the commission voted on the selection and placement of several utility box murals, one of which was an entry by artists Ryan Kwok and Milan Whitfield, with the possibility that it could be considered to replace the current Paradise Valley utility box mural. So the Cultural Arts Commission approved the design with the intent to follow up with the neighborhood for their feedback. Staff subsequently did consult with the neighborhood representatives and received approval to proceed. But ultimately the artists were unable to complete the work because they were full-time students at that time. And another artist was also identified to paint the design, but they were also students. So the commission did discuss the possibility about applying a vinyl wrap to the design, and the Paradise Valley neighborhood representatives also discussed the possibility of having our former Cultural Arts Commissioner, Paula Claudine Hobson-Cord, paint the design. Then COVID happened, and this is one of our projects that got sidetracked through that. So I did want to just share for the commission's visual reference what the box looks like now, so everyone can see what we're talking about. So this is the current box, and this is what the commission approved in 2019, the original submission. So this is coming back on the agenda because there are some more conversations more recently that have happened, and I'll turn it over to Director Mediotti to speak to what's happened lately.
Thanks, Angela, for that context. So this has come about again for a few reasons, namely a desire to sort of enhance the triangular parklet in which this thing sits. It's located at the corner of Hillside and Sister Cities Boulevard. Recently, there was a memorial bench sort of planted in that area. The bench has since been damaged due to age and use. And so there's sort of this renewed neighborhood interest in cleaning this area up and making a more presentable and kind of a nicer destination that represents the community. So staff and community members have met out at the site. We are drafting up plans of how to really make this area much nicer. So that includes new landscaping, a new memorial bench, and also helping improve the neighborhood, I guess the identity of the neighborhood via this mural box. So we do bring this back before you again this evening for your, I guess, more of an update that we would like to move forward with this 2019 proposal for you. And I think we also have some members of the public who would like to provide comment. I see a few neighbors here I met with over at the site.
So if there's any public comment, if you would like to go ahead and raise your hand at this time, we can call on you.
I do not see the hand on my screen, but
okay. Well, Sunny, you can go ahead and start us off. How does that sound?
Thank you very much. I am very much in favor of the new mural which was proposed. It says essentially Paradise Valley, and it has got different colors. And I'll actually be very pleased to see the existing, what we call it, patterns be gone. It's been there, to my recollection, for 8 years. I personally didn't care for it much. I know that there were other people who didn't think much of it. And by now, irrespective of how anybody felt about it, by now it has aged. It had been there 8 years. It's time for change. And we have a new proposal, and I'm all for it. And I'm hoping that this commission would finally vote to have that placed. Irrespective of whether it's going to be a wraparound or painted onto the box, it'll be the mural, which I think is going to please a lot of people.
Thank you, Mr. Koya. We have any other comments?
We have a raised hand from Elmer Madrid.
Hello, thank you for addressing me. I represent the South San Francisco Golden Gate Lions Club. It is our desire to contribute to South San Francisco. I've been a member here for 45 years, and I want to represent South San Francisco with the Lions and do all I can to make community a little bit more pleasant to look at. So we are looking forward to any help that we can give you to be able to fulfill that.
Thank you. Actually, that's very helpful. And my subcommittee, and I will touch base upon later, actually deals with community engagement. So I will definitely get your contact information. Absolutely. Thank you.
And we have an additional raised hand from Vice Mayor Nicholas.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to support the Paradise Valley neighborhood. It all started when Sunny called me up and said, we have to do something about the triangle there. And I fully support it. We have the stipend ready for the artist, and hopefully we'll find a way to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
You're muted. Sorry.
Sorry. My cats are meowing in the background. I apologize.
Yeah.
So if there are any no more public comments on this, we're gonna move on to our next agenda item, which is
Chairperson. I just wanted to recognize and thank those who joined tonight, and for the donor. Is it the Lions Club? That is paying the artist stipend for this, which is just really fantastic. And
Greg, I thought we have a private donor.
Private donor who's paying, and I heard that they're also making a contribution towards the scholarship fund in addition to this, which is really just amazingly generous. So
thank you so much.
And through the chair, before we move on, I'm wondering if the commissioners have any comments for us before we move on.
I would support us doing this. I don't know if this is the forum that we vote for this as a commission right now, or if we have the Urban Art Subcommittee just kind of make that decision and move forward. But if we can move forward with this, it sounds like we have the budget, and it sounds like a great opportunity that we couldn't do because of COVID and that we can do now. Let's put art in our community. I mean, let's get it out there. And thank you to those community members and Vice Mayor Nicholas for bringing this to us. This is fantastic.
Should we put it as an action item for our next meeting and vote on it, or what could do with just?
So the commission has already voted on this. It was just from 2019. So we brought it more as like an update item for all of you, because it has been quite some time since we've revisited this topic. So just wanted you to know we were moving forward, and in case the commission had any feedback on the project.
Perfect.
Do we have a general or kind of estimated timeline on how long we think this could take?
I do have to speak with Paula Claudine Hobson-Cord and work with her on the schedule. Our staff will be motivated to move fairly quickly. We are hoping to start some of the landscape improvements out there before the end of the year. So it'd be great to be done before the rainy season if possible.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks everyone for the comments. Any more comments from the commission or the public? Okay. Moving on to 2023 art show schedule. So I'm gonna give it to Ursi.
Yes, thank you, Millie. I apologize. I got a phone in the background here. I can't turn it off, so my apologies for that. A little history related to the art show schedule for 2023. Historically, the art show calendar is scheduled at this time of year to reserve the required rooms needed for the art shows, to have notices for initial promotion available, and to offer a consistent series of programs for ongoing artists who look forward in participating in these programs annually. Next year, however, the new library and Parks and Recreation building is scheduled to be opened. The move into the building is projected to occur in August and September of 2023. This timeline, however, is subject to change for whatever inevitability that we may not be aware of at the time. In order to prepare for the move, activities around that time will be limited. Additionally, the live youth art show in partnership with the South San Francisco Unified School District will return in 2023. The district liaison has requested that it be in March so that the art show aligns with Youth Art Month. The specific dates are yet to be determined. Subsequently, the 2023 show schedule that is listed on the commission's goal sheet that is in your packet, it is the second to the last page, is as follows. The first show is January 27 and 28 in the Municipal Services Building. The second show will be in March, to be decided. It will be the Youth Art Show, and also in the Municipal Services Building. The third show is scheduled for May 12th and 13th in the Municipal Services Building. And the fourth show was scheduled for October 13th and 14th, with the location tentative pending the successful move to the new building. What staff requests from the commission is that for the September meeting, the commission plan what media will be presented for the 3 adult show programs, the one in January, May, and October, and with particular emphasis on the first show, which is January. Also, at the June meeting, a suggestion was made to encourage conversation on how the commission might support the city's efforts to celebrate the Pride Month observance in June. If a cultural arts event is considered for this suggestion, it would occur in lieu of one of the listed 2023 shows dates that are currently scheduled. The date for the 2023 fundraiser will be addressed in September, following the completion of this year's events, which occurs next, not this upcoming, but the following Sunday. And finally, past 2023 and looking to the future, more discussion regarding art programs can be addressed, employing the guidance of what will be the newly created Public Art Master Plan, the availability of the new LPR building, and other exciting and new citywide prospects. And that is all I have related to 2023.
Oh, thank you, Ursi. That's actually very comprehensive. I do have a question just to clarify. So May 12th and 13th typically would be our craft show, correct, for 2023, or we don't know yet?
Well, that would be for the commission to confirm in September.
So we could technically substitute that with the Pride show, right? If we choose to do so.
If the commission chooses to do so, that can be done.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that point. Any comments about the schedule? Questions before we move on?
Yeah, I believe that there are different chairs for different shows. And so to get ready for September, could I ask perhaps Ursi or staff to send out a reminder to the chairs of the art show to kind of coordinate and be able to advise in September about the, because we want to be coordinated, right? We don't want to do the same thing 4 times or 3 times, so.
That is not a problem, Commissioner Bond. Yeah, we can absolutely do that. I would remind the commission that the first art show, whose chair was former Commissioner Paula Claudine Hobson-Cord, will need to have someone step up into the chair position.
Okay. So I would not mind stepping into that position if people are comfortable with that, since right now I'm chairing, I guess, the summer show, the adult spring summer show. And then that would make things easier to coordinate if people are comfortable with that.
Yeah. If we're all comfortable with that, I have a comment. I just want to really bring our attention to the fact that having 4 shows, my concern is that we won't have commissioners or volunteers to staff these shows. My concern comes based off of our experience with the last show. There were less than a handful of people, yet we had 11 commissioners at the time. Our city right now has made a decision not to recruit more commissioners to fill the spaces. At least that's what I've been told. And without recruitment for more commissioners to contribute to these, we really have an issue with being able to produce these. So I just want to put that out there. We do need a higher level of commitment for in-person events. While I'm talking about the in-person events, I want to make a plea for having in-person commission meetings, these public forum meetings. I think it's extremely valuable to have these in the public space where we can have that community building, where we can have true relationships amongst each other, and where we can actually make business happen, as we've seen the challenges in this virtual space. So, so that is my first kind of reflection on having 4 art shows. If I can revisit the idea of a Pride event for 2023, it wasn't proposed to have a Pride event for 2023. It was proposed to have a banner exhibit up and down Grand Avenue. So it's still being discussed. We do have details that could help support the development of that. It is more of a celebration of expression and goes back to the history of the Gilbert Baker flag, which was the rainbow flag, which was created in the 70s, 79 to be exact, I believe. And so it would be more of a campaign to have represent anyone from our community submit their designs of pride, whether that's their civic pride, their self-pride, whatever they are proud of. What does that look like in art? And have it hang up and down Grand Avenue and have those be our show. So just wanted to clarify and put context to that, because saying that it's an event kind of makes it, puts it with what others might perceive to be a pride event based on what larger cities do. So,
Michael, I think that's a really great idea, really interesting idea. And one thing that we could consider is that it sounds like you're suggesting we would consider that the sort of spring summer art show be replaced by more of a banner show rather than an in-person gallery show. And so then we would have 3 gallery shows and a banner show basically, and kind of try this out. So
that
if
would be
I
my proposal, with one
yeah.
of those 3 gallery shows, of course, being the youth art show.
Of course. Yeah.
in March.
And who's the chair of the youth art show these days? Because it was
The youth art programs, it's an umbrella subcommittee of which
right,
the
yeah.
youth art show is one of the, so it would be Sarah. Falls on
it's
Sarah.
Sarah. Great.
Yeah, if you'll recall, the Youth Arts Committee is combined with the Fundraiser Committee. So
Yeah. Now I recall, yes. So perhaps, if I'm chair of the winter show and the summer show and the urban arts, perhaps Sarah, Lynn, and I could meet, take Michael's suggestion. If other people want to make suggestions, and just kind of figure out, I think it makes sense to have either a banner show or a spring summer show, and take these decisions into the subcommittees and bring them back in September with full recommendations. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Steph is good with that, I think. That would be wonderful.
Well, I just wanted to speak to Michael's comment that, yeah, the commission recruitment is next in the agenda. So that was perfectly timed. So yeah, and just kind of putting it in perspective that there is just not enough people now to handle 4 shows. Doing 3 plus, like a banner would make more sense with the present number of participants. And we don't know what next year is going to bring. Hopefully, I personally would love for us to return to indoors. Because I've met some of you, and we definitely get more stuff done when we are together, I believe. So yeah, if that would be possible, maybe we could actually recruit more commissioners too. So I'm not sure how staff feels about that, but that was on the agenda to talk about the recruitment process.
I will note it's been sort of a citywide policy at this point to remain virtual, and there's a handful of reasons, and it largely has to do with the tech we have in some of our spaces. I think if we were in the new LPR building, it may be a different story. We are kind of moving forward with a plan to have all the spaces there available and ready for these sort of virtual environments. At the MSB, we're kind of hamstrung with really just having the council chambers, and that does require IT to be there and a whole bunch of tech setup, because we still have to have some sort of virtual, presumably virtual format for those who may not be comfortable attending in person. But I think we continue to have this kind of like rolling lookout a couple months out, and we will certainly provide updates to you all on that.
So Greg, it's going to be hybrid for the rest of the year, pretty much, and not in hybrid, virtual for the rest of the year.
Well, I think we're kind of looking at like a rolling 3-month okay. Lookout, but it's most likely through the end of the year at least. Yeah.
So clarification though, because through the end of the year, you just mentioned that with the new building, it would be easier. So at the end of the year, are we going to hear that it's going to be at the end of next year when we move into the new building? Because that's what it sounds like right now.
It's possible. I mean, it's not a department wide, it's not us making these decisions. Although, we do certainly have the ability to weigh in. But there's definitely a lot of variables.
With the ear of a council member on this call, I would just like to say, I mean, I'm sure it's no surprise to anybody that the technology in this city and the marketing is not up to what the expectations should be for our city. It's pretty embarrassing. So that is where I'll leave it.
I'm not really sure where we're going here, but Greg, you're saying that, and I was told this before, is that we will not have an in-person meeting until after the end of the year. Is that correct?
That's most likely true. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's not a yes or no answer, but I know what you mean. Okay. Now, coming into the next year, is it possible that we will continue to have virtual meetings until the new building is open?
Again, I mean, it's possible. It is a larger citywide policy at this point in time.
That all commission meetings and public meetings are virtual?
Commission meetings in yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I also unmuted. Just clarifying question on the banner artwork. So are we saying these would be the banners that are affixed to the light poles? Right? Or okay.
Yes, specific to Grand Avenue was the discussion.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure. I think it's a fantastic idea, and we will just in the background start doing some budget exercises just to understand the full cost. I think it's really a great idea, though.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify with respect to specifically the dates for 2023, thinking that because the other half of this is just our facility calendar that fills up right away, and we like to at least hold tentative dates for the city. So just for the commission to keep in mind, if we did things as we normally do, you know, what are the dates you potentially want to hold? And then at the same time, we could explore some of these other ideas. And then also to note that any change in our programming, it's not impossible, but like the banners would be a little bit out of our purview. So, and there are budget implications, so that we would need to look into that, as Greg said.
As far as the virtual meetings go, I mean, I'm hearing some feedback here, and I will definitely take that back before the rest of the folks who are making these determinations. I'm happy to pass on your feedback. And certainly that will help move a needle one way or the other. So thank you for those comments.
I'm going to have Aaron speak to the recruitment process. Like, as Michael was saying, are we going to stick with the present 9 or what the plan is?
Yeah, so first, Ursi, I just want to confirm that you got all the information you needed. Is that correct? Okay, great. Yeah, so we'll move us along to our next item, which is the commission recruitment. So to speak on that, as we are all aware, we do have 3 vacant positions on this board, and the recruitment process had been paused, and it currently is paused. And so at this time, you know, staff really sees, just for the background history first, you know, at one point this commission was made up of 9 members, and then there was a pretty strong pool of candidates. And so the deciding individuals decided that it would be appropriate that time to include those talents that had applied and bring our commission to 11 members. And that's where we've been at and where most of you are familiar with. And then, you know, staff in evaluation, we definitely see and hear the pros and cons to both of those. I think just to point out 2 really quickly is, you know, with a 9-member, you have a smaller group size, and it allows for a little bit more of a targeted conversation, kind of lends itself to a little bit more efficient meetings. With 11 members, as Commissioner Danatali pointed out earlier, it allows, the larger group size allows for volunteers. And as we know, this commission is responsible for hosting a lot of events where we look to each of you for your volunteer roles. So at this time, we really just are opening the conversation to this commission. We would like to listen and hear your recommendations, and then we will bring that, we'll be happy to pass along your recommendations and what this conversation had.
So I did want to comment about bringing the size of the commission back up to, for instance, 11. And, you know, the absolute timing of that might not have to be next month, but I do think that it should be before 2024, because as we're talking about on the strategic planning and with the public art master plan, we are going to have a larger budget. We're going to have more activities that we want to organize and execute on, and everybody is busy. And so, you know, if we are struggling for people to be in town and available for something like an art show, you know, we're going to really want to step it up when we, for instance, have more community events and we're doing more planning around, you know, if we're able to get some sort of semi-permanent gallery space. So I think we want to plan for the future. And it's certainly been helpful for me to observe people who've had experience on the commission, you know, and kind of learn and grow into it. And so I think that planning ahead for when we're going to need those people and bringing them in before we like very crucially need them is like how we get ready for the future.
I agree with what Commissioner Bond just said. And to some extent, I think we do have a little bit of time, because if we're going to continue with the virtual, that kind of gives us a little more time to select candidates and prospect and see where we are. But I agree, once we transition back to indoors, we will need more people, especially if we want to get a little more ambitious and, you know, continue to grow and put more art into the city. We all have full-time jobs, so we definitely need more hands. Yeah.
Yes, I agree that 11 would probably be more effective in the long run. I think July was kind of unique because I have, when we did actually meet in person, we're able to have events in person, that everybody, you know, we had enough people. I think just that it was in July, was in the middle of summer, and I was kind of against that time period because of that, and COVID, I think, has had an effect too. So I think it was kind of a unique thing. I think people do want to participate, but to have more people would definitely be better.
I just had a question. Besides Commissioner Campagna, who are the other two resignations? I don't know if that can be publicly stated or not, but because since we have 3 openings right now.
Yeah, so as we previously announced this commission, that we had Commissioner Hobson Cord moved to a different commission, and then Commissioner Cancino also moved to a different commission, leaving those 3 now vacant spots.
Okay.
All right.
I'd also like to add one comment about that, just to also further advocate for continuing on to have 11 commissioners on this commission. You know, having myself join during the pandemic, I think a lot of the all of the organized events that we had were mostly virtual at that time, but as we're slowly going back to in-person events, I truly see the scope of how much work is really involved in each one of these events, especially in person. And so, I mean, to pull back and decrease the numbers of this commission at this time, as we're just starting to transition back to in-person events, seems just incredibly ill-timed.
So if we have 9, we need at least 1 more person, correct?
We have 3 vacancies for 11, right? But for 9,
Well,
we have 1 more.
If we have 9, we need at least 1 more commissioner soon, I would assume.
But Aaron, so you said that right now there are going to be no openings, right? Like it's frozen right now.
So yeah, as of this moment, it's just paused. So kind of the direction after tonight's meeting will kind of help steer us, you know, if we are opening the recruitment, or if we are going through the process, which is a little bit longer, to change the number of commissioners. So that would be a longer process, as it would have to be read before the council and they would have to have discussion and vote on it. So it's kind of, we'll take kind of what we're hearing tonight. It kind of sounds, I know we haven't heard from everyone, so I don't want to speak if someone else had a different opinion, but kind of sounds like we hear loud and clear the direction that this commission wishes for the commission, the Cultural Arts Commission, to remain at 11 members. So that process would then be recruiting for the 3 vacant seats.
Any more comments, questions?
I would like to just comment that the number of commissioners is relevant only when everybody participates. And that means that not only on committees, but physically at a show. And it's difficult sometimes for people who are working, but there's only 4 a year. We know a year in advance when they are. And it behooves us all to be part of that program. And it takes 8 people actually working 2 hours for one show, one day, that's Saturday. And it seems that the evening show is not a problem. It's during the day that it's difficult to get people to be there. So keeping that in mind, 11 should be more than enough commissioners to man a show. It isn't always comfortable to, it's more comfortable the more people we have to work. It's easier on everyone. And it's not, I'm not trying to say that anybody has to work all the time, but it does make it easier on each individual not to have to work 4 hours when they should be only having to work for 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think another thing is, things come up in people's lives, both all sorts of things, right? Come up in people's lives. And so
of course,
having 11 people instead of 9, if I think your estimate around needing about 8 people for a show sounds about right. And so, right, if you have only 9 people and 8 of them can't have anything come up, that's probably not realistic given people's lives. So I think that's just a really good point around this too.
Any more comments on this item?
Yeah, so still somewhat related to this. I think the same goes for just on the heels of Lynn's comment, participation by video. I think we often in this space, if this is the space we're going to be in, we often get complacent with hearing an update and just nodding or not commenting. And the same went before when we were in an in-person space. It's just, I want to encourage everybody to speak up and speak up more than less, because we get ourselves into situations where month after month we hear an update and we're fine with it and we understand stuff's happening, but we don't really understand the implication that it will have once that time or that month comes for us personally. And so as we are talking about scheduling in the future, I want to be very, mindful myself of that as well, because some of the scheduling decisions we made this year were not great decisions. We have our major event, our fundraiser, with very few people actually building that by nature of us being in this virtual space, by nature of us canceling the July meeting. And we didn't realize it is almost exactly 1 week away from a major Parks and Rec event, with Encanto movie night in the park being tomorrow and our event being the following Sunday. The same thing happened on the day of our art show. The Friday of our art show, the opening, there was a movie in the park. So when we're making these decisions of scheduling, we need to really have purview to what else is on the calendar for the city and what are the implications there, not only for ourselves, for people to attend our events, but also for city staff who does a ton of work for each of these events to make it happen on the back end for us to then show up as it relates to our art shows. Not necessarily the fundraiser, but that actually is a huge, it is a huge undertaking on their part as well. But that one is more of a partnership on the front end where I don't think many people realize are producing that event and really asking the city for their support of the production of that event, where we'll get into all of that as we continue through this meeting. But I just, again, want to thank Sarah for leading that subcommittee and taking charge of that event, because having stepped in just in the past month, I was blown away by what she was doing and what we had to do to bring this event that you're going to see shortly. But
Yeah, and I would like to thank both of you, Michael, and you, Sarah, because I'm just witnessing how much work is being done in such a short amount of time. And it's mind-blowing. So hopefully all your efforts are appreciated and documented, and the show will definitely go on. But we talked about it for the next year, as you mentioned. Yeah, we would definitely need to plan these things a little better. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, think we are ready to move on to our subcommittee. So I'm going to start with strategic vision. Michael, that's you again.
okay, well, a much more fun topic, the public art master plan. So I know Aaron walked us through the community engagement piece. Just wanted to let you all know that when we met, the steering committee for the public art master plan met, they really discussed the timeline and what the expectations are for us as a commission to expect. So the research is being completed now by the end of August. The steering committee will continue to update this group, and we'll meet with the consultants at the end of each of the 4 phases. So we're finishing phase 1 now, which is research. We're going into the community engagement phase. So that, as Aaron mentioned, is all about surveys and focus groups. It's about getting those into the hands of the community. And with that said, anything we can do still to keep building that community, making those connections, helping provide those contacts that we make and that we have, that we might not even know we have in some instances. The more we can make those and provide that, those contacts to either this strategic vision committee or the city staff, we'll be able to get those in the hands of our consultants and really make the fact finding better. So after that is the synthesis and plan outline. So that will start December to February. And then they'll write and refine the plan March to May. So by May of next year, we should have a finalized plan that we will have seen, reviewed, participated in. Yeah, so that's the process and what we learned. Are there any questions that we might be able to answer about that process, or anything at all?
Michael, just quickly for my own clarification, I know earlier was mentioned that the surveys are going to be starting to be distributed at these events that we specified, the El Canto tomorrow, the movie night, and then there's another one in October. So are they open to us as well? Are we part of the public? Are we allowed to vote on or fill out these surveys? Do you know?
You know, I imagine, well, we already provided quite a bit of direction in the guidance documents that we did provide as a commission. They also had asked us questions in advance to help feed that. And so, I mean, I guess my answer is fill out one survey. I mean, you are a resident, you are a community member. Also know that this survey goes to anyone who lives, works, or plays in the city. So anyone who owns a business, works for a business, spends a lot of time here in South City, because really the guidance that we provided for the Public Art Master Plan is a full 360 need for helping to drive economic development, helping to drive tourism, helping to really create a vibrant community here for residents, and enrich South San Francisco through art. So, yeah.
And
I think as Michael is the chairman, if any of the other commissioners have ideas, they could email him, and then when we meet again, he can bring up whatever you guys are personally interested in.
Yeah. Is the survey in a QR form or just like a ballot?
I understand we're getting a printed copy of the survey. We're getting an online survey, and it'll be in both English and Spanish. But Erin, do you have any insight into a QR code for that online survey?
I think as of today, I do not have a QR code, but we can definitely look into getting QR code set up for that. Yeah, and going back to, if I may, just opportunities. Yes, you can tell them to Michael, but there'll be plenty of time for you to talk to these consultants at like the pop-up events and all that. And as community members, we definitely encourage you to, especially as commissioners. So please feel free to do that as well.
And I don't want you to wait until we meet with them again. I think what I understood from them is that, you know, as soon as you have it, as soon as you have that idea, as soon as you have that contact, reach out to them, because they're in the process right now. So they're welcoming hearing from us. I still have stuff that I'm planning to send. So I'm always happy to shepherd it on, but like Erin said, I don't need to be that person. Feel free to go direct.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michael. Any comments to the Strategic Vision Subcommittee? No comments. We're moving on to
sculpture. I have more.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I have more on the Strategic Vision Subcommittee. I just didn't want to move from that topic until.
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Mike. Yeah.
No, all good. So the next. Just wanted to touch on, wow, okay, so I want to touch on a couple things. I'm gonna table one for next month and just move over to a piece of correspondence that Ursi had. Well, actually, that's not from the subcommittee. I'm sorry. We'll get there. I will move to the next item, which is just to touch on where that banner proposal came from. It came from the strategic conversation within the Strategic Vision Subcommittee. And we are working with Erin on getting some of those facts to help support the development of that and kind of explore that further. So we know that that isn't necessarily a done deal and that we have it all stacked and ready to go. There's still some answers that we need to we need to work out. but that is in the process. I just wanted to clarify that. And then the next thing is we just have our sights set on a potential update for the public art ordinance. And the reason is because originally it was written for commercial development only and not multi-unit residential. Originally it was excluded because of fear that it would turn away developers and make building low-cost housing more difficult, but it really isn't the case. The low-cost developments deserve benefits of art just as much, if not arguably more, than those of these luxury units that are going up in town. And the ordinance is written with such flexibility that it could be used for programs with the development, workshops, integrative programs that would truly add value to these communities, and most of all, the lives of our residents. So we are going to continue to explore that and work to make the case to get that ordinance broadened to include commercial multi-unit developments.
And Commissioner Dentali, if I can, I think this is a huge part of the ongoing conversation that we hope will come out of the master plan too. So feel free to chat that with our consultants.
Yep, and we are keeping that conversation going as well, but there's no reason we should wait for that public art master plan, because there's so much happening now that we're going to continue to explore the conversation in both areas.
Is there anything that we can do as citizens or as commissioners to further that initiative?
I think right now the strategic vision subcommittee is going to draft up sort of proposal. When we do that, we can definitely help. Yeah, we could definitely use help in doing that. So if anyone's interested in joining that subcommittee or being part of that conversation, definitely reach out.
Thanks, Michael. So I understand there was one more item, right, that you wanted to talk about?
No, that other item, I tabled it and we're good. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to move on to another, the next subcommittee, sculpture. So Commissioner.
Nothing at this time, sorry.
No, sir, that's okay, Lynn. Thank you. All right, the next one is urban art, and will be Commissioner Bond.
So Urban Arts did not meet in July. We were focused on, or the people who are part of Urban Arts were also focused on the July art show. It is great news that we are going to be redoing a utility box, so that's a great little program. And then would city staff like to remind us of anything going on right this second? I apologize, I don't have my notes with me on any current items for urban arts. I know we do want to meet in September to pick this back up, if not earlier.
Yeah, no new update for urban art. We're still, just as the commission already knows, it's old business, but the Grand Avenue Breezeway Doors of Avignon we're still in the process chatting with the artist, and that those will be taken down, but no update at this point for that. It's
Did we, maybe we can table this for the next urban arts, but if you happen to have the answer, did we figure out if those could be removed but preserved well enough to be displayed indoors?
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at them and they're in pretty rough shape, so.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we will do our best to preserve as much as we can. That will be one of the goals of whenever we get a contractor out there to help remove them and touch up those walls. But yeah, we will do our best.
Okay.
I noticed the other day that they're still there. Are you hesitating to take them down until the artist decides what he wants to do or what?
Well, that's part of it. We are in communication with him, so he is aware. And artists typically get to weigh in on the outcome of those pieces. But he's aware that they're in bad shape. So as Greg mentioned, it'll be just a process of moving forward with the procedure to take them down and check out the walls and all that.
Okay.
I have a question. So the lights in the breezeway, are they being hung yet or what? It looked like there was some activity, but I hadn't seen the lights actually installed yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the lights are up yet, but the electricians have been out there. We hired some contractual electricians to remove some of the existing lighting, rewire, and have it ready for us to add the string lighting. I think we may have presented to you before. We did kind of upsize the posts we used for that lighting for the potential, should the commission want to revisit some of their proposals we did a few years ago, where there could be some hanging artwork strung from those posts. So I think they're 13 feet high, certainly out of reach for most people. And it's going to be really nice. We're actually doing a planting event this Saturday at the site from 9 to noon, should anyone want to come and actually see the space for themselves.
Has there been a decision on what the lighting is going to be for sure?
We're doing like bistro style lights, and that's just outside. That's just within our park and rec budget. Again, a few years ago, prior to COVID, there was a proposal, and it was actually defunded during the financial crisis that came along with COVID, to install some hanging artworks in that area. So that could be revisited again here in the future, as those posts were sort of upsized to accommodate some future artwork there.
Are those posts, so you're talking about the silver poles that are up currently, up and down both sides, are those temporary?
No, nope, those are staying. We may paint them black just to kind of blend in a little bit better, but those are staying. And so those are the posts from which the lights will be hung.
So, okay. And if, I guess my next question, I almost wish we had an opportunity to put out an RFP with our cultural arts budget, because I think we might want to explore an opportunity, at least in the future, to do some sort of uplighting that can project patterns or art on the wall through the projection of light. And that would really enhance that space, clean it up, and prevent the, I guess replace that infrastructure, which of the lighting, the poles, which aren't that visually appealing currently. So if that's an opportunity for us to explore, we'd welcome taking that to the sculpture subcommittee or urban art subcommittee.
Sure. Yep. It's city property. It could certainly be activated with more art. I think that's definitely a possibility. This was funded in part by CDBG funds and some other funds. So there was dedicated funding for this project outside of the arts that really had to do with providing accessible spaces for residents. So that was sort of the focus. And then we tapped on this lighting piece onto it. So.
Well, would it be a good idea to meet with you soon, so that if that becomes a possibility and we do have the funds for it, it's no point in discussing it if the lighting is already established. If there's already a decision made to what the lighting is going to be, if that decision hasn't been made, then I'd like to have you meet with us to discuss the possibility of putting something else, the lower lighting or a different kind of covered lighting in there.
Yeah, you certainly could have both. The lights are going in very shortly. They have already been paid for and ordered. That is definitely happening. Should you want to amend or add, or for maybe some future improvements out there, that's certainly possible.
So Greg, I've either lost the thought or I'm confused about it. When we say there's poles going in, the poles are supporting string lights, or they are like street lights?
So they are bistro style string lights. They have sort of a industrial sort of looking LED bulb. They're probably about 2 or 3 inches. So similar to what you would see if you're at an outdoor dining patio or something along those lines. There will be aircraft cable going post to post in kind of a zigzag pattern, and the lights will be strung overhead, about 10 feet, 12 feet high. So that is already happening.
That is already happening.
Yep.
I think the sculpture committee will try to get itself a meeting with you to see what that will do to the pieces that we had in mind. I don't know when, Greg, but soon.
Sure. Yep. Happy to meet. Not a problem.
And when you say the pieces you had in mind, are you talking about the sculptures that we were intending to purchase in 2019?
Yes.
Right.
And we have been in contact with the company, and it took them almost a month and a half to get back to us to see if the original price. Now they need to know the specs again to see what the prices would be. So obviously the prices aren't the same. And they didn't have anything from 2 years ago or 3 years ago to refer to, I gather. So we're back to the original start all over again process.
So when we did install those posts, we did have those artworks in mind, understanding there might be some possibility to revisit that. So that's why they are set up so high and engineered as such to carry such a load. You do not have to use those. Yes. Yeah. I know. So I'm familiar with them. Josh actually consulted with the commission. He's our parks manager a few years ago when these were first being considered. For how we would go about installing them. So we kind of followed that same route this year and had dedicated funding that allowed that to happen.
Okay.
All right. Any more comments on this? So I'm going to give it to Sarah for the youth art program update. Commissioner Bowen.
Thanks, Millie. I have a presentation to share, so I'm going to throw it up on the screen here. All right, let me see. Is that coming through okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Well, I just wanted to get everyone excited about the event. I feel like there's been a lot of heavy talk about, a push to participate. And of course, that's the expectation and has historically been the expectation. But I hope that you guys will feel compelled and want to come and participate rather than feel like you are obligated to out of a sense of duty. So hopefully this will get everyone excited. And I also want to apologize for not bringing this before the commission sooner to sort of give everyone like a broad overview of what the event is actually going to be. I feel like everyone's been talking about this event is coming up on the 28th in close to a week, but we haven't talked much about substantively what the event is going to be. So that's what this is about. I just want to give a really broad overview. It's been sort of a strange year and plans have fallen together in the last couple of months. So you know, I again, I'm sorry for not bringing this sooner, but I'm really excited about what we've been able to put together with the help of Michael and Millie and Ursi and Aaron and Angela and everybody. It's been fun. Okay, so the fundraiser, Sunday, August 28th. The event, I think in the past has typically been 2 hours, excuse me. And so we've extended that out now with a new addition. And so it's now going to be 3 hours. We have an outdoor event as well as the indoor event. So the outdoor component is going to be from 12 to 3 and the indoor component will be from 12:30 to 2:30 and it'll be at the Joseph Bernickes building. So I just want to go over some highlights. We are changing things up a little bit. Like I said, we have both an indoor and an outdoor event this year. And another big change that we've made is we are making we're moving away from it being a ticketed event. Instead of having it be tickets for admission, what we'd like to do is have it be a free admission event to bring people in. And then just have people be able to pay for a lunch if they'd like to have a lunch, have some beverages and snacks for sale. And then of course we have the silent auction. And we just think that this would be, just make a little bit more sense. There's a lot of foot traffic in Orange Park, and hopefully we'll be able to draw some folks in who are interested and there won't feel like there's this barrier to entry because you have to buy a ticket to get to come inside and see all of the great things that are going on inside. So that's one change. The second thing is we're doing a barbecue lunch. This is more of the same. We've done barbecues in the past, but we've changed up the menu a little bit. We've got some variety here. We're going to be doing pulled pork sandwiches, chicken wings, hot dogs, veggie skewers, and also, as I mentioned, some additional things for purchase, and that'll be wine and some cupcakes. So a nice variety. And then, of course, we have our silent auction. We've really done, I think, a great job of soliciting donations and reaching out to donors in the local community. We've been able to source so many items. Over 40 for the actual silent auction, but in fact, we've sourced so many more than just those 40 that we are planning on having a follow-up online only auction for the remaining items. So, and in terms of the actual items that will be a part of the silent auction, what we've tried to do is put more of a focus on art. And so we've got a lot of great items. Of course, we've got, gift baskets and things like that, but we have a lot of great items in original art pieces, as well as really cool things like paint and wine nights with local art vendors and things like that. And then for our live performances, we're going to have 3 live performances. One each will be 20-minute sets. And so one will be Spark of Creation, Diversity Glee, and of course our very own Paula Claudine. So with that, I want to pass it on to Michael, who's going to talk about some of the things that he's been awesome about pulling together and walk us through the layout of the event.
Thank you. If you could advance the next slide, I'll talk through that. Oh.
Well, do you want to go over these last things here, Michael?
Oh, sorry. So the we have the outdoor vendors, Artists on Wheels, and Wendy Metcalf is actually with the South San Francisco Unified School District and with the adult transition students. So they're going to be selling acrylic poured items, and Artists on Wheels will be selling their artists' work outside the event. What you'll see on the next slide once we get there is the entrance has been moved, so we will drive people to the entrance by using these vendors and the excitement of having them outside. So they have graciously made donations to be part of this event and sell their wares. So they're excited. They've also made donations to the silent auction and have committed to supporting this. And in addition, sorry, Sarah, did you speak to the last two bullets yet?
No, not yet. You can
No,
cover
okay.
this.
So in addition, we have the scholarship grant exhibition, which Ursi has already curated inside the MSB building prior to the art show exhibit. And so that exhibit from the scholarship recipients will be moved over to the event, really working to make it a more youth-centric event. We also have the community table, which will be promoting community events, local businesses, those sponsors of ours or donors of ours who wanted to really get their flyers out there. So really trying to enhance and give people more things to do once they arrive. We can move on to the next slide and kind of talk about the layout a little. So you'll see at the bottom right corner, the entrance is the second entrance that you see. So we're going to use those vendors, like I said, to draw to that entrance. You see the indoor-outdoor table set up and really the auction in the center of the room. So the flow will actually move throughout the room and create a great atmosphere where if you want to get something to eat and go sit and eat it, you can. But you don't have to stay there the whole time. It's not just rows of tables as we've had in the past. Also, you see in the middle, those squiggly lines are actually art gallery panels. So the donation items will be in the center of the room and folks can walk through there. Bidding and registration at those two tables that you see to the left of those squiggly lines. And lastly, all the tables will be wrapped in butcher paper. It's unwaxed, uncoated butcher paper that our guests will be able to draw, create, color. We're going to provide crayons, markers, items for them to get creative, encourage spontaneous creation at the event. And yeah. Did I capture what we were hoping to capture, Sarah?
Awesome. Yes, you did. Thank you so much, Michael. So I'm going to move on. And this is sort of just to give an overview of what the event schedule is going to look like. And we'll send this around as well so that everyone, has an idea of the flow of the day. We're asking everyone to arrive at 8:30 a.m. I know it's early, but from past events, it seems that you couldn't have enough prep time for this event. So 8:30 a.m., we'd like everyone to get there. We will set up for a few hours, get the space ready for both the outdoor and indoor event. And then, like I mentioned before, the outdoor vendor event will begin a half hour before the indoor event. So it'll start at noon, and that's when the vendors will come in. Michael will be acting as the liaison, so he'll sort of direct them. And the indoor event starts at 12:30, as well as the silent auction, lunch, and then we'll kick off with the performances. They're all sort of staggered with 10-minute breaks in between. And the silent auction will come to an end at 2 o'clock, and we'll sort of wrap up in the last half hour with processing payment and handing out items. And then at 2:30, we wrap up the indoor event, we start cleaning up. 3 o'clock, outdoor vendor event ends. And then hopefully, I've just put as a sort of an end marker, 4:30 p.m. as sort of a time to expect, latest time to expect to be out there. But hopefully we can get out of there before then. But that's the general overview. And then last but not least, we've got our sign-up sheet, which has gone out earlier today. And I realize that these titles probably don't mean much. Hopefully you can get an idea and a sense of what that role will entail, but we will be sending out more detailed information about the role and sort of what you'll be doing. But this is just sort of a broad overview of the positions that we still need to fill and how many volunteers are needed for each. All right, so that brings us to the end. Is there any questions or comments? Let me try to.
Yes, Sarah, just for you, the performances the order of performers might change, but pretty much what you have right now is almost set, but there might be a slight shift. So we're still kind of negotiating with one of the performers.
Okay, thank you for that update, Millie. It's a work in progress.
I volunteered to set up the silent auction, and Peter, would you be willing to help me do that?
Yeah, Michael wanted me to kind of MC like I did last time for the auction, and I would gladly do that again. So
awesome.
Well, I think the silent auction is going to have to be set up before we even open, don't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'll be there at 8:30, so whatever.
Okay.
Whatever
Well,
needs to be done.
most of it will hang. So I would appreciate another point of view when we do this, just to be sure we don't get everything in the same place.
Yeah, no
and
problem.
anybody else who wants to help is certainly welcome.
Well, if everybody's there at 8:30, we can figure out the distribution of work according to what we need. So, and I think it'll be fine.
I just want you to know that I really am impressed, Sarah and Michael and Millie and Aaron and Angela, that this is going to be totally different from what we've done in the past. I'm very happy to see this happen. I don't know how this one is going to go, but if we keep evolving in this direction, by next year, it should be amazing. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, all the credit to really Sarah and Michael on this. It's what the kind of work that they do. I'm just, like I said, it's on another level. So I am just astounded. So I say thank you so much, you guys. Without you, it would not be possible at all.
Well, it's a pleasure to help.
It really has evolved from discussions a few months ago. So it's exciting, and I especially love the idea of having it open to the public and then selling the tickets for food, just generating that foot traffic and that sense of community. So that's really great, and I'm so sorry I'm out of town and will miss it. So really, especially given that we're low on commissioners, I'm so sorry I can't be there to help.
Just promote it to everyone you know in town. I think that's the biggest thing we need right now, is just word of mouth promotion, as much as we could get the word out and invite people. The exciting thing is that it's a free event. So it's a free event, and they can come, they could see art, they have the option to purchase things, they have the option to, all donation proceeds and food sales benefit the Youth Art Scholarship directly. In
fact, I was wondering tomorrow if anyone's going to make it to the movie night, voted at the movie night, just kind of give out flyers, and hope it's going to be a nice turnout. Tomorrow's supposed to be a really good day, so I'm hoping that people will tune in, as I've been giving flyers around my neighborhood here and my building as well. So yeah, hopefully people will show up.
Millie, I do want to take this time, I guess, because this was where my thought was a little earlier, is if we have a performer drop out,
Yeah.
last minute, or we have the ability to replace or put another performer in. Ursi, I hope I'm not stealing your thunder for the correspondence, but it was all sent to us that the SF Taiko drum studio here in South San Francisco is getting their rent raised on them, has made a plea to the community and has made a plea to us to help. Basically, this Taiko drum studio is the first of its kind in the US, and it has been here in South City for 30 years. They have been told that their rent was raising 3 times as much, and that they have 30 days basically to
Oh my God.
excavate or pay the new rent. So with that, they've asked for support in somehow reaching out to the landlord for the extension of the current rate or negotiation of a new rate. But they have years of historical equipment and things that they need to safely and securely pack up. That's where this urgency is coming from. With the urgency,
Commissioner De Natal,
yeah,
we're working on it. We're working with them.
awesome. Okay, that's good to know. With all of this, I was going to suggest, we've reached out to them before to see if they'd participate in the event. But if they were able to have one person at the event, I'd love to give them a platform at the microphone to first honor them, but then mention and possibly give them a platform to do a quick performance.
We could work something out. I'm sure we have time. Yeah. Even if all the performers confirm as it stands, I think we still have time for them to plug their agenda. Absolutely.
And thank you, Vice Mayor Nicholas. Did you want to speak a little to that, or is there not enough information right now?
No, I have spoken. I have exchanged emails with Wendy, and I have talked to the city manager, and we're working on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. That's really a surprise, Michael. I've known them for a very long time, and I guess it would be an absolute shame if they had to move out of South City altogether.
Yeah, I just received the email this morning from Wendy, or this afternoon, I should say.
Thank you.
So
yes.
We have a meeting with the city manager, and he's working on talking to the new landlord, because it's a new landlord, it seems like.
Great.
Sarah, you have anything else to add? It was a thank you for your comprehensive slideshows.
Of course, yeah, well, the only thing I'd add is that I will be shortly circulating some additional information about the positions so that you guys can have that as well. And we'll also include the layout for anyone who would like to, see that again. But thank you.
Okay. So with that, we're gonna move on to the next item. So Risha is gonna follow up on the Handcrafted art and craft show that just happened in July.
Yeah, and I'll just speak quickly. I'll make this pretty quick. And with thanks to Ursi for pulling together some of these stats. So the exhibit featured 32 submissions by 18 artists, plus 13 special exhibits by commissioners and guests. So there were a total of 45 pieces displayed. 8 entries by 8 artists were awarded. It was very nice to hear from one of them earlier. The art was judged by Natalie Estefanian, and she is an MFA and a local artist, and she said she really enjoyed the process and was honored to be a judge. So we had 90 visitors sign the guest book, and we also had a pop-up by the public art master plan consultants. And as Ursi said earlier, I believe mentioned earlier, the current art is, or the selected art is currently on display in 2 online galleries. So the links went around. And then the awardee art is on exhibit in the Municipal Services Building atrium display window.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna give it to Lynn, Commissioner Boldenwerk, to kind of update us on the status of the Day of the Dead art show in October 14th and 15th.
Excellent. Ursi has made available the call to artists, which is already on the website. And tomorrow night at the movie night, we'll be distributing a save the date flyer. So that's taken care of. Once that is done, we'll start. I want to have a committee meeting week after next. So I'll be contacting you. And other than that, that's it.
Great, thank you, Lynn. And I'm gonna move it next to Zubin, about Commissioner Maharaj for Performing Arts.
So not really any update, but now that we've frankly haven't met in about 4 or 5 months, Commissioner Hobson-Cord and I had put together an idea, and then we went back with the city and we were negotiating details. Angela found out some details about it. We were working through it, and then it seems like it got shelved, which frankly was quite frustrating regarding things. So now that Commissioner Hobson-Cord is no longer with us, if there's ability to put legs back on this and bring this back to life, I'd be happy to do it. And because frankly, it's exciting. We're all talking about art, but we don't have any music being advocated for on this committee. And I don't want to go through the same experience I had at the beginning, which was frustrating, which was really an exciting part of joining this committee in the first part. So I'd like to see what we can do to work through those loopholes to bring that to life.
While I have you on this, Zubin, as you know, we've been trying to recruit for the event in August. So I will keep you, actually wanted to reach out to you, and I think I did, but wasn't sure if the email got through. But for the future events, you will be definitely contacted just like before. And
cool.
Feel free to email me with any suggestions, because obviously we want to kind of incorporate. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zubin is, sorry, can I jump in here, please?
Yeah.
Zubin, is that subcommittee currently just you?
I think it is. Actually, now that I think about it, both Crystal and Paula have moved on. So yeah, it's just me.
Okay, wow. Well, yet another reason why we need more commissioners.
More commissioners, yeah.
Just
Now that you mentioned, that's a good point. Yes. The thing is, the idea earlier this year was meant to be very low hanging fruit, low maintenance. Not take too much of staff's time and all that. I can go back to my notes and all that, but we can revisit that. And again, yes, I agree. We need more commissioners, but that'd be something that I voiced a tremendous amount of passion earlier this year to everyone, and we all talked about it in great detail, and then to much fanfare, and it didn't go anywhere. But I'd like to get that started up again, because it can work either in a virtual environment or in an in-person environment, whichever direction we go over the next several months. And a lot of everyone here was pretty excited about it as well. So
I will say that the art show that we just had in July, it wasn't the same without a performing arts element. There was definitely a lack of energy. So
I think there's a lot of great artists. There's probably a lot of great, even a few production studios here in South City. I've been a long-term resident here. There's a lot of just small little details and so on that could easily be done around this without too much drama, frankly, in that. So I'd love to do that.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Zubin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm gonna move on to our next one, which is community engagement, which is me, and we are actively engaged in the youth art fundraiser for the August show. So And that's where we are right now. I don't really have any updates since we are kind of meeting, and everything is very fluid in terms of what I am kind of helping out with the performance right now. So Zubin, if I do have a question, I will reach out.
Yeah.
Thank
I'll
you.
text you, Millie. We can talk in the next few days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I definitely need some direction.
Sure.
Okay. That concludes our subcommittee, and moving on to items from commission. Items from staff? Sorry. Anything from commission? Are we? Nothing from the commission. All right. Items from staff.
I have a few things just to discuss some events that are happening and some updates with the city. So first thing is our fall 2022 class registration started a week ago. Registration for residents was on the 15th, and non-residents will be not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. Lots of cool classes happening, lots of cool things happening. Lots of new classes, especially things to do with the arts that are filling up very quickly, which is awesome. And we will be, I work in the front office, so I can work to promote the barbecue to people, especially in those classes, because I feel like they would be wonderful patrons of the arts. So we can do that. Next thing is our movie night, as we've mentioned a few times in this meeting. It's going to be tomorrow. Events are going to start around, I think 6 or 6:30 is when things will kick off. The movie won't start till 8:30 till around sundown. But again, there is a park and rec table there, and we will be pushing and promoting the barbecue. I think there is going to be someone making some announcements too, so we can throw that in as well. And then the last thing is the concert in the park. And that is happening September 24th. It's on a Saturday. And that's always a really fun, cool event to get the community together. It runs from about 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the day. There are 2 bands that are playing, but there's also performances from classes. Like I think, I don't know if it's 100% set in stone, but I think that hula and belly dancing, and I think a couple other classes will be doing some sort of performance element, as well as food and games and just community engagement. So urge you all to get out there and represent our commission.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Gabriella.
And through the chair, I have one quick update. We do have a QR code for our survey that will be circulated.
Yay, that was fast.
I
That's
know, I tried.
awesome. Thank you, Erin. All right, your business. All right. So that's helpful. That's already, half the problem taken care of. We're moving on to correspondence.
The correspondence packet was sent yesterday, I believe. And then, of course, there was the additional one that everyone spoke to a little bit earlier. So there's nothing beyond that.
Hey, thank you, Ersi. And any comments, questions before we adjourn? There was a lot to take. I know this was pretty long, but I think we kind of set our piece here. So if nothing else, we're gonna adjourn. And
I have one more comment, which is,
Sure.
Millie, you've done a very lovely job stepping into the chair.
Thank you so much. Well, now that I have you as my winger. Well, it's a team play, and I think everyone is doing an amazing job under the circumstances. And I've seen most of you now, I think, in person, with the exception of you, Risha, and I think Zubin. There are a couple of people that I haven't seen, but I've met pretty much everyone. So I can't wait until we are doing this in person. But yeah, so thank you guys. Great job today, and have a good night. See you next month. Well, no, I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, thank you.
Night.
Night.
Night.